fishing. People, when you're in the mood, let's go fishing. Well, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. Grab your hat, get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Canadian Sport Fishing, brought to you in part by Ford Trucks, built Ford tough. Lucky Strike, producers of quality fishing tackle and landing nets since 1929. Rapala, premium fishing gear crafted from experience. Canadian Power and Sail Squadrons, volunteers teaching safe boating.
Let's go fishing whenever you're in the mood. Let's go fishing, baby, it's just me and you. Head on down to the fishing hole. You wanna grab your hat, man, and get your pole. Let's go fishing when you're in the mood.
Now, no joke, we came down. This is the second pool that we fished this afternoon. And Gill is in a bit of a hurry because we're trying to cover a lot of water before we start losing light. He made about 4 or 5 drifts in this run, and he hooked up a fish right off the bat. You said you were here the other day and you got a 20-pounder?
Yeah, we had a nice fish, about 20 pounds, Italo.
Good.
Beautiful fish. This one here looks like it may be about 12.
Now, there's no problem landing him like this into the current?
No, it's a two-man effort. You don't want to do it by yourself.
You stay there, and I'll just go below you.
If you look at her, Italo, you can see the net marks. She's been in a gill net at one time, probably coming up through the nest.
Definitely those marks along the body, but you know what? This fish is in good shape. It took the eggs, so there's no problem.
She'll be fine.
Okay, I'm just going to swing him around, and you know what? This fish is going to go around me because it's been in the water.
There she goes.
No problem. Good one.
Beauty.
Good thing I got my rod out of your way. So it wouldn't interfere.
I was ready, Italo. I was ready.
It's nice when you can drift for them this close. I've been fishing in the spring in the Terrace area where you got to make like a 100-yard cast literally from here to the other side.
Oh, yeah.
And you get such a big bow in the line.
Yeah,
and it's
you're
hard
right
to set
on
the hook.
them here.
Yeah.
You're right on them. And that's also the accessibility, being able to wade here.
Yes.
And the wading is quite nice. The bottom is actually fairly good. So.
Yep. We were talking earlier about the fly fishermen and the gear fishermen that use row and so on.
Yep.
You think about 50% of them like to fly fish?
I would even say less than that, to be honest. You know, I mean, the fly fisherman ratio to gear fishermen, fly fishermen, I think it's a growing trend. It's something that's catching on.
Yeah.
Ever since the movie A River Runs Through It, you know?
Right. Good thing for movies.
Yeah. This fish here looks almost like the same fish. In fact, some people are going to wonder if that is the same fish. She's got net marks on her as well.
I think this fish is longer.
But she's longer. Not only that, if you remember, the last one had a big white spot on her nose. This one doesn't.
Right, you're right. Good eye for detail.
Okay, just get below her. There you go.
Like that?
Like that.
Okay. No problem. Let's try my left hand. Oh, you know what? Problem is they're green.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting them out. They got tons of energy. Long, lean fish.
Yeah, she is long and lean. She's traveled probably a long distance coming up the Nass River.
Wow, look at that.
She's very
gorgeous.
Beautiful. As I said, again, look at the net marks here, and notice the white spot is not on her nose,
there.
so it is
now,
not
this
the
is
same
a spawned out fish.
She may be. She looks kind of Celtic, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's tight.
She's been in here a while.
Okay, ready?
In fact, her adipose fin here, look at, she's
clipped.
been in.
Maybe this was a stockfish?
It could be.
Okay, it wants to go. I'm going to just hold it out here, and bye-bye. Now, you missed getting your hand slimed. I'm going to try to help you out with that, okay?
There you go. Thanks,
anyway,
Italo.
what I noticed was that your lead is shorter than mine. And I know that
so
can be...
The trick.
Well,
that's the secret, is it?
Well, I don't know that it's a secret, but I think a lot of times it looks like this run is about 3 feet deep with the rocks.
We may even want to just shorten up just a little bit. What I found, how I hooked that fish there, is she was laying right along the edge of Italo. What I started to do is rather than shorten up, I just hold back on my float a little bit.
To get the roll bag to come up a bit.
To elevate the roll bag just a little bit.
So you think this is okay?
I think that'll be fine, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
Yep.
It was really a different kind of day because it was the first day we put a brand new boat in the water, and we were out in the Grand River, my kids and a friend and I, and we're down there just below the dam. We got all sorts of small cat and some sheephead and stuff, and all of a sudden the line took off and set the hook, and away we went on a merry chase because this thing wouldn't come in. It took about 20 minutes to get it in because we were only on light line. It was a great way to start off my new ownership of a boat.
You know, in the near future, it doesn't matter where you live in Canada, everyone will be required to write an efficiency test and get an operator card when it comes to running a motorized pleasure craft or water vehicle anywhere in Canada. Now, to get that actual card, you have to write a test, and that test has a combination of questions on boating safety and also boating regulations. Here's an example of one of the questions. It might say, what is a fairway buoy or a fairway marker? Well, a fairway marker is a marker buoy that has red and white vertical lines, and it marks the center of a channel. So that means that you can go around it on either side. It's safe. So that's one of the examples of the questions you might be asked. If you'd like to get more information and you'd like to study maybe for the test, you can contact the Canadian Power and Sail Squadrons on their website. You can call them directly, or you can go to our www.canadian-sportfishing.com website and get the information as well. That way you'll be a safe boater, and you can get your card as well. Man, look at that fish thrash on the surface.
Let your float there.
Yeah, I'm bringing it in. Yeah, we don't want a line tangle when you're fighting a fish, do we?
Oh, he's going to get into the rapids on us.
Can you hold him back?
I'm trying.
Good job pulling him back, Gill.
We got him back up, Italo.
Yeah. Have you ever had fish go down here down the chute?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can look ahead of us here. Look how fast this terrain drops here. We've got major rapids. If a big fish does go down there, you can't really go after it because the current's too strong in the main river. You're doing great, Gill. I'm going to get on this side of you, and then I'm going to get below you when you get it in closer.
It's another good-sized fish.
Yeah, even though I'm using a spinning gear, really the gear of choice out here for the guides and your guests are the bait casters, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because there's an advantage to letting the line out.
You can feather it.
You know what? This guy's not ready. Why don't you let him fight out a little bit before I try to grab him?
Oh,
because
definitely.
they thrash so hard when you grab them.
Yeah.
Now, most of the fish here, these fish are wild, and they do really respect the fishery. So even though we're grabbing the fish to release them, we're trying to keep them in the water, you'll see very few people use nets out here unless they're fishing out of a boat. And sometimes they'll do that in the deeper runs so that the anglers can cast more efficiently and drift the pools.
We're also in knee-deep water, Italo. So, you know, it's a lot easier on the fish. If you do happen to drop this fish, he's not on the beach.
You're right.
You're not going to beach him.
Yep. This one seems more plump. I don't know if it's spawned out as well.
Healthier. Very healthy.
Yeah.
Hasn't got any net
No
marks.
marks. Let's get it close, and I'll just see if I can just
And lay her against your legs and scoop
use
her
my
under the belly.
legs. As Gill pointed out, I'm actually using my brakes to hold the fish. Look at this.
And you will notice again, Italo, she's hooked
Always
right
in the same place. So they're not really engulfing the bait.
No,
So I agree with you. I don't think there's any harm done to these fish. You know, even though some guys might say, well, if you're using roll, you might swallow it too deep. I don't think so.
Not if
And
you're on top of it.
how many fish have we missed that you got to just slam the hook faster? It's gone. The float comes back up.
If you stay on top of it, that's a very pretty fish.
Beautiful
that is a classic
fish.
steelhead.
Less than 10 seconds. Get it
Beautiful.
back in the water. Turn it the right way into the current so the fish can actually use that current. And you know what? I can't hold on to it.
We were out fishing, practicing for the rainbow season, which was just coming up, and we ran across a couple suckers. So we started fishing for them, and sure enough, I caught a couple. And it hit, and it went down the rapids, so I had to kind of follow it a bit, so my line went bust. While I was following it, I kind of got a bit wet, and my dad came down, and he grabbed it. Yeah, I'd like to thank Italo and my dad for all the fishing success I've had and ever will have. For example, like winning the championship.
Fish on. Beautiful. Beautiful, Italo.
You know what? I think they are steelhead in there. Just holding. This is very different fishing than fishing the Great Lakes. And I think the first thing that gets anglers when they come out here, I don't care if they're from the Great Lakes area or they're from the northern states. Number one is the size of the waters. We're fishing a relatively smaller river. You can fish for these steelhead in some pretty big waters. Secondly is the scenery. You can see behind me, it's overcast today, but we've got mountains that are what, 2,000-3,000 feet in elevation at least. Plus we're pretty high too, right? You said we're about 1,500 feet higher than Terrace.
Yep.
So it's cool here, and most of the mountains, even the hills that I'm looking here ahead of us, they're pretty snow-covered.
Pretty fish.
Beautiful. I'm using this 9.5 foot. It's the Rapala steelhead rod. This particular one is the tournament class, and you can see that it's rated for line from 8 to 12 pound test. It's 2-piece, and I've got this is a Penn. It's an SS 4500 spinning reel. It's a saltwater reel, and it has really good line capacity. It's not a fancy reel like some of the more modern designs, but you know what? This thing is efficient. It's got a good drag system. It doesn't have a lot of moving parts, so you're not going to have too many problems with it. The other choice is like the outfit that Gill is using. This
The
is
Penn
the
955.
Yeah, International 955. And again, that's a saltwater outfit, but it's perfect here for salmon and for these steelhead. Do you want me to land it, Gill?
I got her, Italo.
Okay.
This is my turn.
I feel so bad that you got to get your hands wet, you know.
Hey, the water's warm, you know.
You know what I say?
Comes straight
You
out of the
got to
glacier.
do what you got to do, okay?
Straight out of the glacier, so
No.
it's rather tropical.
That is a nice, clean fish. And beautiful. Now, how come you're... For me, they thrash when
Did
I
you see
grab
that?
them.
And again, look at this. Look at the
Just
hook
in the
set
side
on
of the
that.
mouth.
Again, not deeply hooked.
Okay, I've got a couple rods here. Hopefully his teeth won't get caught up in my gloves. Oh, I don't want to wreck that row bag. Come on.
Yeah, these row bags are all lots of fun.
They're pretty
to tie,
valuable,
So,
eh?
yeah, kind of like gold on a day
Now,
like
this
today.
is, there we go. Barbless, and it's out, and I can even use it again.
No harm done.
No.
Very, very pretty little
It's not
fish.
a big fish, but you know what? I'd catch those all day long.
Yeah, she is very
Beautiful.
pretty. We're gonna let her go.
Yeah. Well done. Here, let me dry your hand off a little bit. How come that's cold? Actually, what's the water temperature?
Ooh, it's probably I would guess around probably 42.
That's cold.
Yep.
Now, how come they're still taking so well? It doesn't matter how cold the water is?
I'll tell you what. If we were fly fishing, Italo,
It'd be tough.
you wouldn't be moving these fish with this eggs, and it's because there's coho spawning in the system at the time right
Okay,
now. As we
that's why
speak.
they're on them.
They're on the eggs.
Okay, that makes sense. This is great. We've lost 2 or 3 fish on this run, and we just landed a couple. Gill had a big one on. He figured it was maybe 18 pounds. So it's literally non-stop action here. The only thing is you got to be so quick on the hook set, not just so you won't miss the fish, but we don't want these fish to swallow the bait, and it hasn't happened yet. They've all been hooked just in that upper top part of the mouth. And we're losing it because of these mountains that are around us. It doesn't stay light as long as if you were out of the mountains, because we're going to get some shadow effect. Plus it's overcast up there. So we're under a bit of a time constraint, but you know, we've been fishing about 2 hours, and Gill's landed 4, I think. I've lost 2 or 3. That was the first steelhead that I just landed. We were getting into some trout. And this is what it's like. This is what you can expect if you come out here and fish in the Terrace, BC area. And Gill was telling me there's about 30 rivers and tributaries that they take people to. In our case, we're using a jet boat to get to some of the best spots. Sometimes they'll use drift boats, or they'll even drive to access areas where the anglers can walk up and down the shoreline to fish some of the favorite pools. So it really is a river fisherman's paradise. No doubt about it.
West Coast Fishing Adventures is located in the town of Terrace in northwestern BC, just a short 1.5-hour flight north of Vancouver, aboard Terrace's very own airline, Hawk Air. Along with world-class fishing opportunities, the Pacific Northwest boasts some of the most rugged and beautiful scenery found anywhere. Guests of West Coast Fishing Adventures stay at the Desiderata Inn. Located only minutes from town, the inn is nestled amongst tall stands of timber and sits atop a mountain of bedrock, giving you the feeling of being in the wilderness. The Blackstone Restaurant, which is part of the inn, provides West Coast Fishing Adventures guests the very best in cuisine here in the Northwest.
There we go, Italo. Fish on.
Good one.
I lost that one, Italo. Ooh, that looks like a bruiser, Italo.
Bruiser? It looks like a steelhead.
Oh,
Now, why do I feel like I'm a little bit underweight with this rod here?
Well,
you got a big stick bait caster with a Penn International. I've got the little steelhead spinning rod here.
Oh,
You know, that is a big fish.
that could be about a 20-pound fish by the
Now-
looks of it, Italo.
You know, we had this discussion before we fished. You said if I could get a double header. I thought you had yours. That's why I set the hook.
Hey, you know, I saw you waiting,
Yeah.
and
So just so you know,
steelheading in
the reason
British
I hooked
Columbia
it
is.
was I wouldn't have hooked it if you wouldn't have hooked the first one.
Well, I know, but steelheading in British Columbia is a tough thing to do, you know. I mean, and
I
trying to
know.
get a double header.
So then my next question, I think, was, do you want me to hook up first or second? And he said, you can hook up first. So I let him hook up. He had a fish on, like 30 seconds, you know, before I hooked mine. And then I set my hook, and then his got off, of all things. So we almost had it on cue. No rehearse. This is like, boom, you know, you do it.
That was actually the second fish I had touched, and you hooked up
You
yours.
had 2 drifts,
Yeah,
2 fish.
Yep.
Now, back home, there would be people shoulder to shoulder if
Yeah.
there's a pool with steelhead in it.
Right.
So what's going on here? Do
Well,
guys not know like where to go or
It's
what?
a little remote,
Right.
and
Well, tell them how remote.
It's very remote.
How close are we to the Alaska
We're
border?
only about literally 20, 30 miles from Alaska.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is awesome. And we're still in British Columbia, by the way. Gil, what's the season for the steelhead? If you guys want to come up here and do some serious steelheading.
End of March,
Yeah?
the whole month of April, and then we fish through the last 2 weeks of July through August and then into October.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long season.
It is a very long season.
What about for fly fishing? When's the best time for them to take? Because I know water temperature, water levels can be
I would say
crucial.
we're going to be looking at April's actually quite good.
Yeah.
I've caught them on the dry in April.
Yeah.
I love fly fishing, and I've also hit them on the dry in October. I find, out of my experience of fly fishing, if the fish are there, you have the right conditions, and they haven't been touched by anything else,
Right.
you've got a very good opportunity at getting them.
Good. My drag is set right because I'm reefing back and you
There
don't
you
hear
go.
the drag. And I'm going to do what Gil suggested. As soon as this fish is inside into this little bit of backwater,
Let's try and
I'm
bring
going
him
to
over
try
here,
to
Tal.
control him. Do you want my glove? I'd feel a lot better, you know.
I'll be fine. I can do it. Trust me.
You'll be fine.
I don't have a problem. I won't need a glove.
Well, I'm glad the tourists stay in hotels. We're comfortable.
That fish is strong, I'm telling you.
Okay, I tried putting the boots to it. What's your second suggestion? Look, he's back out there.
He is just not coming in. Again, see, this is where the big lumber stick comes into play, right? See, when you need the power to pull a fish like that to maneuver them.
That's why you're the guide. I'm the tourist, remember.
I've had a few people here that have insisted on using 6-weight fly rods for these fish. And I allow them to do it for the first couple fish, and then we realize that they do not have the rod to do it. I quickly switch them over.
Now this is where, you know, you don't want to reel too much line in. You want to leave some line out there so that if the fish wants to take off. So a good deal. Man, this feels like a big salmon out in salt water. A good plan is to actually walk back and leave a...
Try and get them right
yeah,
over
I'm
here.
trying. You know what?
Steer.
He knows what I'm trying to do, you know.
I know he does.
This guy is an educated northern BC steelhead. Big male. Hold on to him. Wow. You did a great job, by the way, Gil.
Look at that fish.
You know, I don't... Okay.
Look
He's
at
got to
that.
be 36 inches, if not longer.
I got a tape actually here.
Okay, and how, you know, you're the guy. How heavy do you think? He's not really thick.
I'm
but
going to
it's
say
nice
a good
steelhead.
18, an honest 18
Wow.
pounds. I would not take anything from him there.
You know, I don't feel as confident as you do. So what I'm going to do here is put this glove on,
Okay.
because I'm going to get you to take a few photos of the tourists. Is that okay?
I'm just giving him a drink here, Italo.
Okay, and this is the Normar glove. Look at this. It's a very good glove. Now, it is better to handle the fish with your bare hands to release it, but I'm going to wet the glove. You keep holding to.
He's getting
him,
a
okay?
little impatient.
Yeah, I can see that. So I'm going to try. I don't know if he'll. You hold on with your other hand.
Yeah,
Okay?
I got
'Cause
him.
Okay. And now, what do you do with your fishing rod? Now, Gil.
Lay your rod across your lap there. Okay.
Okay, is that okay?
That's fine.
Just don't step on the thing.
Yeah.
How's this for a nice steelhead?
Look at that.
BC steelhead.
Look at
Gil,
that hook
Gil,
set.
good job, by the way, putting me on the fish. Okay, let me just get him back in the water. What a beautiful animal. I don't want to hold it out of the water too long. This is a heavy fish. I think you're right. It's in the high teens. And you know what?
Yee-hoo.
I'm going to extend him out. I'm going to use my left hand. And he's probably just going to go right back into that run.
There he goes.
And I'm going to get my... Yeah?
Look at him go.
No problem. My fishing rod. And you know what? That was great. So we're done. I wanted to get a big steelhead. Want
There
to
you
go
go,
back
man.
and get some coffee in town? Or?
Sounds good.
I
Where's
don't
Tom?
think so.
Where's Tim
I don't
Hortons from
know.
here?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I'm going to be... Let's go. Come on. Back to work.
Okay,
That
let's
was
go.
enough chit-chat, okay?
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you in part by Ford Trucks, built Ford Tough. Lucky Strike, producers of quality fishing tackle and landing nets since 1929. Rapala, premium fishing gear, crafted from experience. Canadian Power and Sail Squadrons, volunteers teaching safe boating.